Alright, if you are looking for a highlighter that you can see from outer space and that you can actually tone down that looks great on mature or skin that is 30 and over, then this video is definitely for you. Hi everybody, my name is Danielle Nicole and welcome to Monetary Makeup. Alright, I am super excited for today's video because one of my favorite makeup brands, Kaleidos, recently released one of their brand new Space Age Prophecy highlighters called Gifted. Now, not only are we going to be doing swatches as well as a demo of the Gifted highlighter, but I also have the Space Age Prophecy highlighter, so I thought it would be helpful to see the two different swatches side by side. So while we review this new Gifted highlighter from Kaleidos, the finance topic of the day is going to be how can I help my child pay for student loans and what are two different ways to do so. So if you're excited to see how this highlighter looks and my fair to light cool undertone, don't forget to hit the like button, the notification bell, and let's get started right now. So before we get into the demo, I just wanted to mention that I have 3 different highlighters from Kaleidos that I'm going to be swatching for comparisons for you. So the 3 different highlighters that we're going to be comparing today is Moon Cruiser, the original Space Age Prophecy highlighter, and the brand new Space Age Gifted highlighter. Now I'm going to do live swatches with you right now. However, I am going to insert a clip at some point. That way you can see the actual shift up close because these highlighters have such an amazing shift that I find when you just do the initial swatch on camera like this, it's not as great. So hopefully that'll be helpful for you guys. So for the live swatches, I have the 3 different highlighters here. So the first one here is Moon Cruiser. Now Moon Cruiser is not part of the Prophecy line. I just wanted to mention that. The second one over is the original Space Age Prophecy highlighter. And the brand new one that we're going to be testing out today is the new Gifted Prophecy highlighter. So let me just turn my hand a little bit so that way you can see all the different shifts in these highlighters. So just in case you can't tell on camera, I would say Moon Cruiser doesn't really have so much of a duochrome shift. However, as you can tell, it is a beautiful, almost bluish pink highlighter. Whereas these other 2 right here from the Prophecy line, these are duochrome or multi-chrome highlighters. So they have many different colors that they shift to. So this Moon Cruiser is going to be a little bit different in formula as well as the different pigmentations, which is exactly why I wanted to swatch it for you today. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I used the original Space Age Prophecy highlighter as an inner corner highlight in almost every single video. It is such a beautiful highlighter. So next, let's get into the demo of Gifted. So as I mentioned, one of my favorite ways to wear these highlighters is not only on the rest of the skin and the cheekbones that we will be doing today, but also I particularly love these highlighters as an inner corner. Sonia Kashuk highlighting brush. So I'm going to take my Sonia brush. This is an amazing inner corner highlight brush. I highly recommend it. Now, these highlighters are very pigmented, so if you do follow my channel, I typically don't tap off my brushes. However, for the inner corner, I do recommend because they do have a little bit of fallout if you don't tap off your brush. Alright, I'm really excited to see what this looks like because it appears it's a little bit more neutral in undertone and it has more of a pink shift to it. Whereas the original Space Age highlighter, that one is definitely much more warm tone and it has a more orange to green shift, I would say, where this one appears to be a little bit more pink. So I think this was a fantastic addition and I do hope they continue expanding because this formula is absolutely amazing. Now I'm going to add a tiny bit to the brow bone before I zoom you all in. However, I'm going to try to go very light-handed because these highlighters pack a huge punch. So I don't want my brow bone to kind of be overtaking that inner corner highlight. So I'm just going to show you how you can get a more natural look as opposed to something more built up. Okay, so this is what Gifted is looking like as a brow bone highlight as well as an inner corner highlight. And I am going to insert another clip of me in more natural lighting because I will say on camera, I'm looking at the viewfinder right now, it looks pretty natural, especially on the inner corner. However, when I am looking at the highlighter in real life, it is very bright, very pigmented, so I will show you that after we do the rest of the face. All right, I am so excited to get this highlighter on my cheekbones. So next, let's go in with the Real Techniques setting brush for the cheekbones. So I highly recommend, if you're over 30 like me, if you take your brush and swirl in like that, it is going to pick up so much pigmentation, even on synthetic brushes. So I am going to barely tap my brush in, and then we can always add more, but you'll see in a second just how pigmented these highlighters are. All right, let's start with the left side first. Woo! Immediately, holy cow. There are not too many highlighters that I have in my collection that upon just barely dipping in, there is so much. But that's why I love these highlighters, not just because they're super pigmented, but I find the way they melt into the skin, even though they're kind of wham bam outer space highlighters, there is just something about the formula of these. It's just absolutely incredible, and I have never been able to find an exact dupe for them. There is another highlighter from Shop Missy that I do find similar, and I do think it could potentially be a dupe for the original Space Age. However, it's not exact. There's just something about this one. But if you are curious about that dupe, I will link that video right up here so you can check it out. I am going to build this up a little bit more than I would typically wear, just so that way you can see on camera. I know it doesn't always come through as much as in real life. I'm going to take just the tiniest bit above the brows and also get the nose. Now I usually don't build it up this much, so in a second if it looks like, wow, that is a lot of highlighter. No, I typically don't wear this much, but I don't find it helpful when I see reviews and you can't even see it on camera at all, so that's why I'm building it up so much for you guys. So hopefully that's helpful. Alright, so I will show you in natural lighting in just a second here. So just as a reminder, I applied Gifted to the brow bone highlight, inner corner, down the nose, Cupid's bow, as well as the cheekbones. So I'm going to shift on camera and hopefully you can see that beautiful, I would say it is a pink to almost green undertone. This is so beautiful. All right, next let me cut into natural lighting so you can see what I'm looking at. Okay, so unfortunately in Michigan, we have 0 sunlight right now. It is the dead of winter. So I just stepped into the bathroom to show you what this highlighter is looking kind of more in real life as opposed to all of the studio lights. So can you see right here just how natural? It almost looks like glass skin in my opinion. Look at how beautiful that shift is. Look at that. It is so pretty. So I would say the formula is identical to the original Prophecy highlighter, so that is awesome. Now also, I'm going to come in a little bit closer. That way you can see the inner corner. I feel like this is one of those highlighters that you just have to see in person, but check this out. Can you see how much punch that has on the brow bone and inner corner? It's so beautiful. So far, so good. All right, next let's cut into the swatches so I can show you the shifts and the undertones of this new Gifted highlighter. All right, you guys, so it is swatch time. So starting from the top right here, this is the new Gifted highlighter. The middle swatch is the original Space Age Prophecy highlighter, and the bottom swatch is Moon Cruiser. So I'm really hoping that this lighting can catch the actual shifts. I would say the new Gifted highlighter shifts from a pink to a green and is a little more neutral, not quite cool tone, whereas the original one in the middle, that one's definitely much more warm tone, and it shifts from an orange to a green. Somehow these both just look like glass skin on your skin. And Moon Cruiser, while it's not an actual duochrome or multi-chrome, all three of these are just absolutely beautiful. Alright, next let's cut into the topic of the day, and then we will get into my final thoughts. Hi everybody, welcome to the topic of the day. Alright, I think we all know by now that college and really any sort of education is getting more and more expensive every year. So I have two options I simply wanted you to be aware of that can help with education costs, not in the near future, so this is something that you need to save up for. So the first option is what's called a 529 plan. So just in case you've never heard of a 529, a 529 plan operates similarly to an IRA. However, it is specifically designed and set aside only for education costs. Now, there can be tax advantages to going with a 529 plan. So this is why I highly recommend, if this is something you are going to consider, not only do I recommend discussing this with a financial advisor, but also a CPA or a tax planning advisor as well. Now, if you're a parent and you're not really into keeping those funds specifically set aside only for education costs, then another option you could have for your children is a Roth IRA. Now, one of the benefits of a Roth IRA is that when you go to withdraw the funds of the account, now assuming that you kept the Roth IRA in the original account and you did not move those funds to another investment vehicle, then you typically can withdraw those funds tax-free. However, with Roth IRAs, it is really important to be aware of that there are income limits that you can actually open a Roth IRA and contribute to a Roth IRA in the first place. So again, this is why I highly recommend not only discussing these options with a financial advisor, but also a tax advisor. So if you're considering going to college in the future, or you have a child that you're looking for options to help cut on some of those education costs, then a 529 plan as well as a Roth IRA could be two options that you may want to consider. Now again, always discuss these options with your own financial advisor as well as a CPA or a tax professional before making any decisions, because after all, everyone's situation is unique. Alright, next let's cut into my final thoughts. Alright, so in case you can't tell on the huge grin on my face, I am so happy I picked up the new Kaleidos Gifted highlighter. There is just something so unique about the Prophecy highlighters. They are not chunky, and even though they're wham bam thank you ma'am in your face highlighters, when you apply them to the skin, they just melt so seamlessly. Now, one thing I do want to mention, these highlighters do have glitter in them, so they're not completely glitter free. I don't know if you could tell on the swatches. However, they are so finely milled that upon application of the skin, you cannot see any sort of glitter on the face, but I did just want to mention that. So I really hope Kaleidos keeps extending the shades, because up until the Gifted highlighter, there was only the Space Age Prophecy. So I would absolutely love for Kaleidos to create another Prophecy highlighter, but in a more cool tone, almost like Moon Cruiser. Now, Moon Cruiser is a beautiful cool tone highlighter. However, it doesn't have that beautiful shift like Gifted and Prophecy do. So I want to hear all of your thoughts down below. Have you picked up this Gifted highlighter? Are you thinking about it? Are you going to pass on it? And definitely let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching and spending your time with me. I appreciate it so much, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye everyone!